welcome back to JPTV. Thank you so much for coming. I want to start off by saying if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for choosing to click on this video. And if you want to know about intermittent fasting in general, then you will definitely want to subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of videos on here that have to do with intermittent fasting. I go between OMAD, I do 2MAD, I do ADF. So I do a variety of stuff. Because I love to experiment and I love the flexibility of intermittent fasting. So if that's something that you're interested, then just keep on watching. So today I thought I would talk about my preference between ADF and OMAD or 2MAD. And what I have found, I've been experimenting with it. ADF seems to be working for me best right now. But in this video, I'm not going to just share, which one I prefer. I'm going to share the pros and cons of both because I think that's important. What I'm going to talk about is the benefits of OMAD, and I'm going to kind of go back and forth between OMAD, 2MAD, and ADF. So starting with OMAD. The pros of OMAD is that you can do a couple things. You can truly just have one meal, like one big large meal, or you can do what I do when I'm doing OMAD, and that is actually split it up between appetizer, actual meal, and dessert, and I try to do it within a 1 to 2 hour window, which is my preference as well because I like to get like the full joys of eating. And so when you're able to have an appetizer, a meal, and dessert, that is what I am talking about. Okay, 2MAD. So 2MAD seems to be the most beneficial if you feel like you don't want to just have one meal in that 1 hour window. With 2MAD, I found the pro with that is that I can open up my eating window with high protein, but something very, very small like sausage and eggs. And then I can have a full meal about 1 to 2 hours later. So I can kind of consider that a 2MAD. Whereas you could technically do OMAD and do what I talked about, where you have an appetizer, a meal, and a dessert. So it kind of can feel like a 2MAD, but what I felt the difference was that I appreciated was that when I do OMAD, my appetizer is like super small and I do everything within a 1 hour window. When I do 2MAD, I open up my window to be more of a 4 hour eating window, which would be 20 hours fasting, 4 hours eating. About the pros of OMAD and 2MAD, I want to talk about the pros for alternate day fasting. So with alternate day fasting, I find that the pros would be you have a longer eating window on the day that you do eat, and so it really leaves the flexibility of being able to enjoy your full weekend. So I'll give you an example. Like this weekend, because I've been doing alternate day fasting, my eating days are Saturdays and Sundays, and it's a full day of eating. And so being that it's the weekend and, we're usually doing something, we're going here, going there, going to a party or whatever, I can eat all day long and not worry about my eating window that I have to be done by a certain time, or two, that I've got to think about really what I'm eating because I don't count calories when I'm doing alternate day fasting. Now let's talk about the cons. So we'll start with OMAD. So what I found with OMAD that can become difficult is that your eating window is a lot smaller. You've got a 1 to 2 hour eating window, and so you have to be done by a certain time. I'm actually going to sit down. I'm practicing using my gimbal. I bought a gimbal for my vlogging, and I'm really enjoying it, but there's been a lot of glitches, so I'm trying to figure it out. But anyway, back to the cons. With OMAD, I found that I lost less weight doing OMAD versus when I was doing alternate day fasting. And as I've been doing research, what I found, the reason for that is because when you are doing alternate day fasting, your body is getting a longer break between food. So you're going like 36 hours before you're breaking your fast, at least when you're doing alternate day fasting. So I have found that doing OMAD, there's just not as much flexibility. talk about the cons of 2MAD. However, I don't feel like there's any cons to 2MAD. I feel out of all options, 2MAD is the most feasible for someone just getting started. So what I'm going to say with that is, if you're just getting started on your intermittent fasting journey, that would be my recommendation. Keep a wider eating window. Start with 2MAD. Open yourself up to 16 hours. So do like an 18-hour fast, 6-hour eating window. Have one small meal when you first break your fast. Wait a couple hours and then have a nice big meal. So I would say that depending on your family life, if you want to eat dinner with family, like you have young kids, I would break my fast around noon or 1, have something small for lunch, and then have a nice big dinner with my family. For me, because my kids are grown and gone, so if you're an empty nester like myself, I prefer to do 2MAD morning, like a breakfast, and then a nice big lunch, and then close out my eating window. All right, now let's talk about the cons of alternate day fasting. So although this is the method that I prefer, I think the con is that depending on what's going on in your life, it can make it hard, because on the days that you're fasting for 36 hours. So you have to make sure you're very strategic when it comes to alternate day fasting on what's going on in your life at the time. So when I first started a couple weeks ago, I didn't take into consideration that I should probably do what's called a 4-3 of alternate day fasting. That's 4 days eating, 3 days fasting, which would mean if you want to have a full day of eating on the weekends, you need to fast Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and feast on Saturday and Sunday, and Tuesdays and Thursdays. So when I first started, I didn't take that into consideration, and so it messed me all up because I had so much going on the weekend, and so I had to switch my schedule, and it can become confusing. So what I can say about that is there's a lot of flexibility with that. You just need to figure out what works best for you. So outside of the time restraints when it comes to ADF, the only other con that I would say is that fasting for 36 hours can be really, really hard, especially if you're not used to it. So my recommendation would be start off your intermittent fasting journey at 16-8. Start with that. If you have never fasted, you want to get your body used to it. So that means you would be in a 16 hours fasted, 8-hour eating window. Then once you've done that for 2 to 3 weeks, then you can start shortening your eating window. Then you go to 18-6. So 18 hours fasting, 18 hours fasting, 6 hours eating. And then from there, 20 hours fasting, 4 hours eating. I definitely don't recommend the 23 hours and then 1 hour of eating. I just don't feel that works unless you're having a big, massive meal. Like if I'm going out to lunch, like I did yesterday, I can get it done in 1 hour because I'm eating so much food. But if you're not really eating out, you're just kind of eating at home, I would definitely recommend doing 20 hours and a 4-hour eating window. So once you've gotten used to intermittent fasting, then start to incorporate ADF, because it is really hard to fast for 36 hours if you're not used to fasting. It's really hard for me still, and I've been fasting for 4 months. However, after my body got used to fasting, I switched to ADF, and I'm finding that I have the best results with ADF. So just to wrap up this video, my recommendation is to do ADF once your body is adapted to fasting. And the reason why is you're getting a lot more health benefits when you do ADF because you're fasting for longer periods of time. So out of everything, I feel like that works better for my lifestyle. And again, this is just my personal opinion. I'm not a professional. I don't have any licensing. This is just what I've found as I've been doing intermittent fasting. And I've been doing this since the end of January. It is now the end of May. It's Memorial Day. And I've lost 20 pounds. So I feel really good about that, because although I needed to lose 40 and I have 20 more to go, I lost it at a healthy pace. I feel like 20 pounds in 5 months is really, really good. So yeah, guys, I'm going to wrap up this video. Again, this is just my opinion. This is what has worked for me. Let me know in the comments what you've tried, what you find is best. I love hearing other people's ideas and tips. I constantly am changing it up, and that's what I love the most about fasting, is that there really is no right or wrong. It's what works best for you, what you're finding helps you lose the most weight while giving you the most flexibility. And that's why I wanted to talk about all three options, because I think it's important for you to know the different options that are out there and know that you can try all of them to figure out what's best for you. So yeah, if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.